Okay, and we are live. Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Luderin. I'm a professional organizer and interior designer. My company is called Pretty Neat. And I'm here today with Cady Henry as we've been doing this series each week. Cady is the owner of Cady Sitting. She's a childcare expert with 10 plus years of taking care of kids and learning everything there is to know about that. Cady, how are you doing today?
Good. Yeah, how are you?
Good to be here again.
Yes.
So we are going to be talking about a topic that I get asked about a lot in my job as an organizer, and that is kids' clothing. This seems to be just an area of overwhelm. It creates a lot of work in terms of like laundry and the whole keeping it organized, putting things away. Kids just making a giant mess of their rooms with clothing, right? It all is contributing to all of those things that just add chaos to our home. So today our plan is to shed a little bit of light on setting up some systems in your home so that clothes are just more under control. And we're gonna share some tips all around that today. So so Cady, I know you are in a season of life where this is a very relevant topic for you, right?
Yeah, it's very relevant right now.
How old is your son right now?
He is 7 months. So this is something that we are constantly dealing with. Yes.
Okay. So as a child-free person, I don't know a lot about the whole baby clothes, everything that goes on with that. So why don't you get me up to speed and talk about kind of what the challenges are as a parent?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest challenge is definitely the inventory. And then your child at this age is growing exponentially. They're growing so quickly that you're constantly having to reassess what you have, organize what you have, and then update and upgrade to the next size. And I mean, like your newborn could be in their newborn clothes for a period of time, and then they might quickly jump to the next size and be in that for a short period of time, and then they, might be in the next size for longer or shorter. But it's constant. I mean, from birth, from the past 7 months, he's gone from newborn to now he's in 12-month clothes. So he doesn't stay anything for very long. So we're constantly having to navigate that. And we had to put in an organizational system that worked to just stay on top of it and keep it organized and make sure we knew what we had.
Okay. So like, what's the time frame? I'm sure it varies by child, but what have you found to be kind of the time frame where you have to start upgrading sizing?
For us, it's been, in the beginning, it was probably 6-8 weeks. He'd be in his newborn-ish 0 to 3 clothes for a little bit longer. So as we would put stuff on, you start to notice that things are starting to feel a little snug. And that's when we'd say to ourselves, okay, we need to start going through the wardrobe and looking at the sizes. Lately it's been 6, I think he's in his 9-month stuff for maybe 6-7 weeks.
Oh
and
my God.
we're stuffing him in it, and we have to get to the store and get 12 months.
So not even 2 months, and you have to start rethinking his wardrobe basically.
Yeah.
Everything is too small.
Yeah. And like you said, like some babies are longer, but I mean, really, if you think about it, in the course of 7 months, he's gone through, I don't even know, 6 different sizes in clothing.
That's crazy. I can see why this is really an issue for parents going through that, like with all the other challenges of having a baby, to then be kind of managing this, like you said, inventory of their clothing.
Yeah.
So this is a big issue. So I'm hoping we can give people some ideas on how to do this. What have you found is working for you in terms of setting up a system for organizing the clothes and then kind of having them set for the next sizing up?
So we started right when I was pregnant, because you're buying yourself a lot of clothes, you're receiving a lot of clothes as gifts, you have your baby shower. So we took the clothes, we divided them by size. Then we bought clear totes so that we could see what was in them, and not like the big bins, but just shorter, more shallow totes. And we divided them up by size. So we had his newborn, 0 to 3, et cetera, broken down by size. So then as he would, we were fortunate that we just had that much inventory to go through. That all went into a separate storage room. So it wasn't in his bedroom. It wasn't in his closet. So then we took out the newborn stuff that was all ready to go. And then as he grew out of the newborn, we could take the newborn clothes, put them in their newborn bin. And we had the 0 to 3 or 3 month, depending on what size your child's in, ready to go. His closet, we still do. Everything's in his closet. We try to really limit his inventory of clothing. It just helps us stay on top of laundry. Mm-hmm. We've also found that they don't wear as much as we think, or they do, or, you buy a lot, but they're not wearing all of it. So you end up with all this excess that doesn't get used. But in his closet, we bought just bins from little cloth bins from Target that sit on his shelf. And they're a little bit bigger, but we have a bin for his pants and a bin for his t-shirts. And then, now because he's bigger, clothes are bigger, a bin for his t-shirts and a bin for his long sleeve shirts. And then in the winter, we had another bin for the winter, hats and mittens and heavier sweaters we hang up, and jackets, so that we can see how many jackets and sweaters he has. But having those bins also is a visual cue for us that if they're getting really stuffed, we probably don't need more. Or if one bin doesn't have a lot in it, that for his pajamas, we also have a bin, then we know, okay, that's something that maybe we need to add to. He's kind of he's missing a couple pieces.
Okay. So you are keeping just the current seasonal in-use stuff in his closet accessible in these bins.
Yep.
And you're keeping them separated by type of item.
Yep.
And then you have the kind of back stock of the things that he's outgrown, and then the things that he hasn't grown into yet, kept completely separate. And so you're really only dealing day to day with the stuff he's wearing right now.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And, having the stuff all separated in the bins by the sizes, it makes it easy. So when, right now, we are going through his 9-month stuff. We realized last week, I know I will say, I know it's hard right now with the pandemic to get your hands on kids' clothes. If you're ordering stuff, taking a long time. So,
sure.
Right now we're stuffing him in 9 months still. But we realized last week, a few weeks ago, he was starting to get a little snug. We said we need to sit down one day this weekend. We're going to take all the 9-month stuff out and put all the 12-month that we have in. And then we see from there what holes we have. And it doesn't take long. I did it this morning, and it took me 10 minutes, because with everything separated by the bins in the closet, I just take all those t-shirts out, grab all the t-shirts from us that we have of 12-month, put them in there, and keep going down the line. And it doesn't take long. So I know I can just quickly flip over his wardrobe.
That's great. I like that idea of keeping the future clothes separated by size, so that when you have to go to that next step, it's not like you're digging through one massive bin that could then have multiple sizes in it, right? You've already kind of separated things out. Yep. So I think that's a great piece of advice. I also just want to back up a second. I liked what you said about his current bins serving kind of as the boundary line for his current wardrobe. So you said you have just a certain size bin, and you have, I'm assuming through trial and error, figured out that that's a good amount of clothes for him currently to be having enough to get through to the laundry, and yet not being overwhelming. Yeah. So if the t-shirt bin is getting overstuffed, that's your cue to maybe weed a few of those out, the least favorites and stuff.
Because as when they're younger, when they're infants and newborns, you are changing their clothes more frequently for numerous reasons. And now that he's a little bit older, he's 7 months, maybe we're changing his shirt or pants once a day. Maybe he's having an outfit change. So, most likely you don't need as many clothes as you think you do. So having that visual cue when things are getting kind of stuffed into that bin, it tells us he really doesn't need any more t-shirts because there's no way he's going to wear even all the t-shirts that are in this bin before
Right.
he's on to the next size.
I think that's a great point. And what you're also saying is like, the system is probably going to need to be flexible enough to take you through, like, as you said, when they're infants, there's probably a need for more items, a larger number of items, because they're just getting changed more. And that as they grow up, keeping that in mind, that you probably won't need the same volume as you did at the very start.
Yes, exactly. Yep, for sure.
Okay, great. So I know you've also worked with kids of all different ages, and I'm assuming you've had lots of experience dealing with helping them get dressed or getting them ready for bed at night and all of that. So I feel like this is a system that can work as kids move forward. And maybe if you have like hand-me-downs or things that they haven't grown into yet, again, keeping them separate from their current wardrobe is, I think, still a good way to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it just kind of gets rid of that access so that you can see exactly what it is your kids, it's easier for you to see what your kids are wearing, and it's easier for them. It's more manageable. There's less laundry. You're knowing that the things that are in their closet are more likely to get worn and used if they're not having to fight for your attention with clothes that are too small or too big.
That's a great point. So revisiting their wardrobes on some kind of regular basis, maybe it is when they start outgrowing things, and taking that assessment and getting the things out that no longer fit, maybe are too worn out or are stained or whatever, and really just keeping the current things accessible to them and to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's a great. So I've worked with a number of people on these types of projects, helping them organize their kids' clothes. And one thing that I often see is just the sheer volume of clothing is excessive, right? I mean, I've seen small children who have like way more clothes than I do as an adult. And I can see how that would be overwhelming for everyone. It seems to me like that's just generating a lot of laundry. As your kids get older and you're trying to get them into that habit of like, picking out their clothes or getting dressed by themselves, it just seems like you're making it really challenging for them. Have you found that to be true with the kids that you've worked with?
Yeah, this does seem to be a big issue, and I think that's like kind of underlying of what we're talking about here is that it's the inventory, it's the volume, it's the amount of clothes. If you can have, when that is too much, it makes, like you're saying, it makes it a lot harder. It's more stressful. There's more laundry. So to have fewer items for your kids and your kids' clothing in their wardrobe, it's going to make it easier for everybody and a lot less stressful for everyone.
Right. I can totally see that. And I think, doing some thinking, I advise people to do this with a lot of things in their home, but really thinking about, how many items are a reasonable amount to get us to the next wash cycle. And, how often are we doing laundry, and how dirty are their clothes getting, and that kind of thing. It takes a little bit of consideration on the front end, but I think if you can do that thinking and really give yourself a number, or give yourself, like you said, a space, either hanging in the closet or in bins or in a drawer, and be like, this is the maximum, that can really help with, I think that just general accumulation of stuff that tends to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I think the number that people settle on is probably going to differ based on their household and, again, their laundry habits and all of that. I will reference a video that we've watched that I found to be pretty enlightening. And it's a woman, she has a YouTube channel. She is the Minimal Mom, I believe is her channel name. And she's done a couple of videos about kids' clothing, and we can link to those below this video here. But she's like ruthless. Like she says she gives her kids like 5 tops and 5 bottoms for their current wardrobe
And
then
one nice outfit,
and
yeah.
one nice thing, and they just wear the same thing. Like if they go to church, they just wear the same outfit every week. And I was stunned at that, but she tries to keep in mind that things can be worn in different outfits, and maybe that's something else we can talk about, but really paring it way down. And what she says is, you can try it for a while, and then if you find like it's not enough, she's not advocating getting rid of the rest of the clothes that you own, but just kind of setting them aside, maybe in the storage area or whatever, and then pulling from them if you need them.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked what she said. And it kind of went back to what we talked about with the curation of a toy collection. Just having a curated wardrobe for them, taking their current wardrobe and just pulling out pieces. Well, I guess taking out the pieces that they wear. So if in the course of a week they need this many outfits for play, a couple, maybe they go to private school, so they have uniforms, and you go to church, or you go to a family dinner once a weekend, so you need one or two nice outfits there, taking those out. And then she advocates, and I think this is great, and then we talked about this with the toys, put the rest in a bin, leave it for a few weeks, see how the curated wardrobe goes. And if you feel like you need to add more, or there's something that the kids like, you didn't think that they wore anymore, but they're really missing that piece of clothing, you can go get it out of the bin and add it to the wardrobe. And then after a few weeks, if you realize, like 6 or so weeks, if you realize the things in the bin, you really didn't need them, you don't want to bring them back out, because it's nice to have the smaller curation of clothes, you can go about donating them or selling them or giving to a family member.
Yeah. I thought that was a really great idea of just this being experimental and maybe trying to just drastically reduce the number for now. And again, you don't have to get rid of everything, but just limit what's currently accessible and see how it works. And then if you need to pull back, or like you said, if it's their favorite t-shirt that you didn't grab, you can. But yeah, just giving this a try. I think if this is an issue for them, I think that this might be just an experiment to try and see how it works.
Yeah, just be flexible with it and give yourself some give yourself flexibility around it. You don't need to go to your kids' wardrobe right now and get rid of everything so that you only have a few pieces left, because I'm sure that's not for everybody and it's hard. And dressing kids is fun. It's so much fun to buy clothes for them. People give you a lot of clothes. But I have noticed the more that we pare down, personally, the more we pare down Emmett's wardrobe, the less laundry we have, the easier it is for us. And honestly, like you're saying, he only wears so many things in a day and in a week. And I tend to put him in the same things over and over again. Kids who dress themselves or who are older, they tend to wear the same or want to wear the same pieces over and over again. So there's a lot that ends up getting wasted and that you don't actually end up using, and they've grown out of it before you got a chance to wear it.
Right. That's another issue, is kind of the issue of waste and having so many things that it's really they don't have enough opportunity to get to wearing them on a regular basis, because there's just so many things to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we're trying to think about saving some money and just, again, not being wasteful, this might be a route that would work. And then, if you give this a try and it does work, then maybe as they're sizing up, keeping that number in mind. So if they were able to get by with maybe 10 tops, 10 bottoms for the last season, maybe you think about that in terms of what they're going to need moving forward, as you're getting gifts or you're picking stuff up on sale or whatever, and just keeping yourself from the excessive shopping, which I know is so hard. It's hard in general, but I would imagine just, kids' clothes are so cute and
adorable.
You see stuff and it's like, oh my God, they have to have that. So I can totally see the temptation. Have you had any luck, kind of managing that level of temptation, or anything that you've done that has kind of helped you?
The biggest thing for me is unsubscribing from emails and trying to just block out those social media ads. Because listen, Instagram, they know, Facebook, they know how to target you.
Oh God, I know.
They know what you're searching. They know what you're liking.
That is so true.
They're going to show you exactly what you want to see. So it's super tempting when you see these ads pop up from some of your favorite stores and they're offering a discount, and you get the email that they're offering 10% off. And I'll say to my husband, I saved 10%. And he's like, yeah, but you spent 50. So like
Right.
you didn't save
Yeah.
anything.
That's a great piece of advice for all shopping in
Yeah.
general. I try to really be ruthless about unsubscribes because for the most part, if you do need to make a purchase, you can go to the website and there's usually some kind of code or
Yeah.
seasonal discount happening anyway. So it's not hard to find those things.
Yeah. And it kind of, when you're doing it intentionally, like I do need to buy Emmett pajamas this weekend, I'm going with the intention of doing that. You're more mindful about it, and you're less likely to just impulsively buy stuff. If you're going onto the website because they're offering you 10% off your ward, or free shipping if you spend $100, you're just going to start buying things that maybe they already have several of, they have duplicates of, or they don't really need, they won't end up wearing because they grow so quickly.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing to keep in mind about shopping in general. Like if you can shop with a list, you're always going to make better decisions rather than just aimlessly wandering. I mean, I know it's harder to do that now, although I heard Marshalls and TJ Maxx had like massive lines of people waiting to get in over the weekend. So that's starting to open back up. But even the online shopping, you're just doing like the late night scroll and you're getting tempted by things. Yeah. So if you can really check yourself, like you said, just limiting your exposure to ads, to the coupons and all of that stuff can maybe help keep that in check. And and I feel like kids, they get a lot of clothes for gifts too. So
they do.
There's probably less shopping than you need to do. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love to buy those cute little outfits?
I think Emmett had like 5 pairs of suspender outfits when he was like a newborn, which was adorable. He wore like 2 of them because
how many
we weren't going anywhere.
Situations does he need to have suspenders on?
Yeah. And honestly, you're like, I don't want to change him out of these suspenders anymore. Like I'm putting him back in his onesie. So
right, considering the practical, like what are they actually wearing on a day-to-day basis?
Functional, what's seasonally appropriate.
Yeah, when we were talking about this before, you had mentioned the thing about the cute outfits and how those aren't always the most practical just because of the whole mixing and matching issue, right?
This is a huge issue with babies. Until about the 24-month mark, they tend to, most stores, Carter's is a big one, tend to sell the outfits together. So you get the shirt, the onesie, and the pants as like a full outfit instead of being able to buy separates. I find it to be super cumbersome and it's just not practical for us, especially for a number of reasons. I like to be able to buy pieces that are more basic and that we can mix and match. The outfits, it's hard to break those down and mix and match them. Like sometimes they're clearly an outfit. And also Emmett, like most kids, like he's not the same size on top as he has on the bottom. He has very little legs, so his legs tend to be smaller. Right. And he has a good sized little tummy. And so his top ends up, especially now, he ends up growing out of his top faster. So like right now he's in 12-month t-shirts and 9-month sweatpants. So buying the outfits is not practical. It doesn't help us.
Yeah. That seems like, kind of I was going to say that's something that retailers should address, but I'm guessing they do this very intentionally.
For sure.
You have to buy the whole outfit rather than just a t-shirt and the pants separately.
So
that's tough.
Yeah, and I recommend if you can find stores like Old Navy, Gap, Target. Target has a smaller collection, but there's a store Primary that I love. They will sell more basic prints or shirts, items that you can mix and match. So, like Primary, for example, they sell all different types of tops and bottoms, but they're usually in a solid print, a color, or just like a stripe. So you can get the t-shirt in a couple different colors, the shorts in a couple different colors, and then they're easy to like mix and match up so that you, if you're limiting their wardrobe, it still gives you feel like you have more to work with than just like like 5 pieces. You have a couple different outfits.
Right. Yeah, that seems like, I mean, that's just a general recommendation I make about wardrobing in general is, if you can pare down to smaller numbers, but the pieces all can work together, you're getting kind of the maximum number of outfits with the minimum number of items.
Yeah, yeah.
So kind of keeping that in mind with your kids' wardrobes, I think is a great piece of advice as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, great. So, let's see, is there anything else? I'm checking my notes here. I guess in terms of, helping kids with the mess that clothes can become, I think as it's age appropriate for them to start putting things away on their own or putting things in the laundry. Do you have any pieces of advice on this? I know kids' clothes often are a big source of mess in their
Yeah.
rooms.
Like the big source of mess and anxiety. I
Yeah.
think, first, like it goes back to what we were saying. Again, limit the inventory, curate the collection of what they have in their room. Just like with the toys, it makes it more accessible for them. They can see it, they know what's there. If you have it organized in their drawers or their closets, organized in a pretty basic, it doesn't need to be tedious way of here are all your long sleeve shirts, your t-shirts, your shorts,
Mm.
and these are your everyday clothes. It gives kids more opportunity to dress themselves and get ready for the day. Around 2, 3 years old, kids just crave autonomy. Like they want to be doing it on their own. So
Hmm.
if they can see it and easily access it, and they know, like, okay, all of the clothes in my drawer, my closet are the set, they fit, they're my size. These are like my play clothes. These are the clothes I can pick from, then they can get dressed on their own. And it's a way for them to feel like they have some control while you're actually maintaining, the level of control over the wardrobe. And another
Right.
big thing is I see kids all the time, and I get it. Like I do it. You get undressed and you just throw your clothes on the
Right.
floor because it's easy.
Yeah.
I highly suggest putting the dirty hamper in their bedroom. I
Mm.
know there's a lot that are in the laundry room, in the hall, in the bathroom. It makes it kind of for a child out of sight, out of mind. Like
Oh yeah.
they're not going to do it. If they don't see it, they're not going to do it. So having that wardrobe or the hamper in their room for them will definitely set them up for the best success for learning to pick up their clothes. I mean, they're not going to do it right away just because the hamper's there, but it's easier for you if you're in there modeling and teaching them,
Hmm.
okay, like time to pick up our clothes off the floor and the hamper's right there for them to put it away. They're more likely to do it than if it's in a different room.
Yeah, yeah. And that might add another step or two for you on laundry day to have to go to each bedroom. But I think you're right. It just is going to make it easy for them to have the habit of putting the stuff in the hamper. And if they have to walk out of the room, it's probably never going to happen. Like, this is being realistic about what's going to go on.
Yeah, and kids like consistency. They like to know where things belong. I know, like, it doesn't seem like that because they're always throwing things around the house and putting
Hmm.
things where they want. But if you are consistently saying, like, no, your hamper's in your room, your clothes go in your hamper in your room, they will start to internalize that and pick up that habit if they know. My husband always says, "What is it? Everything has a place and a place for everything, and everything in
Mm.
its place."
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
I definitely preach that to
yep,
everybody I work with. Yeah,
yeah,
giving everything a home
yeah. Give it a
is
home. Give
really
the dirty
important.
clothes a home. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I also think what we've been talking about in terms of curating, limiting the wardrobe is also going to help your kids. I feel like if there's an excess of clothing, it's just going to encourage them to take something off and toss it because they know that there's this huge volume still in the drawer
yeah.
or in the closet to pick from. But if they really have a limited number of shirts to wear this week, I feel like that is just going to foster that behavior of, oh, I'm going to have to wear this again.
This is
It's
my
not like
outfit.
disposable clothing. Like there's a few things that I get to pick from.
Yeah, I can't play dress up in my wardrobe all day. Like, this is what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think those are some great tips on this issue, like I said, it's something I hear from a lot of folks on, and I know you have to deal with it in your personal life and your work life. So really, I think the bottom line is limiting the number and having some sort of system of storage for the things that you're keeping for the future, and having a kind of a regular check-in as to, are we growing out of things? Do we need to move the stuff that no longer fits out of here and replenish the supply with the new things?
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you had said when we talked earlier, is these clothes for kids have a small lifespan, and keeping that in mind as you're shopping. I mean, that will help kind of rein in the inventory and the volume a little bit when you really sit down and think to yourself, there's a small lifespan. My kid is not going to be in these clothes for very long. Even as they get older, it's probably just going to be, you're lucky if you get through a whole season and they're still in the same size. It's not until probably like later on in elementary school, middle school, that they're lasting through entire seasons in the same size of something.
That is so true. And just the thought that next summer, they're going to be a different size. So how many summer clothes do they really need? It's really just for this year.
It's just for this year. Yeah, absolutely.
And we have such a short time here in Syracuse to wear warm clothes in warm weather that it's probably a lot fewer than you're thinking that they need.
Yeah, I don't even always go through all my summer stuff.
Yeah, I have a very small summer wardrobe because it's like here and gone in like 2 months. So, yeah. All right, cool. So before we wrap up, we just want to remind everyone that Cady and I have collaborated on a free guide. We're calling it the Family Childcare Guidebook. And the point of this is to really provide a tool for parents for when they're having someone else take care of their kids, and a way to organize all the information that childcare provider is going to need.
Yes.
So do you want to tell people just a little bit about what's included in the guidebook?
Yeah, so we included things like emergency numbers that and just basic numbers that the childcare provider might need when you're out of town, when you're away. Things like the Wi-Fi password, how to work the TV, little details that you don't think about. Other things, for each child, such as their date of birth, if they have allergies, their after-school routine and schedule, if they have things going on after school that they have to go to, bedtime routines, things that each individual child maybe likes to do, their favorite activities, to help ease that transition for the child when the parents leave, so they have something to look forward to do with the child care provider. It also gives the child care provider a chance to bond with the child when they know, what the child likes doing. And then if you have pets in the home, just basic pet instructions and information about the pets. So all those little, the big and small pieces of information that you need to leave for your childcare provider, so that it provides, you have a more peaceful and stress-free outing. You don't have to worry as much while you're away, and that everything's taken care of.
Yeah, and we really tried to think of everything, and drawing from your experience of taking care of lots of kids in different households, what kind of information the child care provider might need. And like you say, it's really to give parents some peace of mind when they leave, knowing that person is prepared. And it also helps the child care provider feel confident that they have this reference, that if God forbid there's an emergency, they know who to call, or if it's time to feed the dog, they know the process there. I mean, from the whole range of things. So we have formatted this in a PDF so folks can, this is a free guide, and we'll put a link below the video for where to access it. It's on Cady's website. But you can print it out and fill it out by hand, or we've also formatted it so you can type into the form on your computer and then print it out, which, again, we tried to make it as user-friendly as possible, because it includes a lot of information. Just, summarizing like the after-school night routines, that's a lot to get at. Yeah. So, we hope that will be helpful for people. We are planning to continue our series here, talking about organizing kids stuff and organizing issues related to parenthood. We're still mulling over topics for next
Yes.
week, but we'll be announcing that on Facebook in the upcoming week. And yeah, we're planning to return here probably next Tuesday night, same time around 6:30, and keep an eye out for the notice about that coming up.
Yes, please do. And if you have any ideas of things that you would like us to discuss, please let us know.
Absolutely. We want this to be as valuable for folks as we can make it. So if you have suggestions, let us know. All right. So with that, we'll be signing off. Cady, thanks. It's been great talking with you as always.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.